Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay.
And I am John Epstein, back with you this week.
Absolutely. And today we're going to be talking about clarity. Have you ever thought about what you think about, or have you thought about how your life or why your life is the way that it is? If you want to join our conversation, definitely share this, hit a like, and we'll be getting started in just a few moments. Good evening, good evening. Welcome again. This is Majida Bay, your financial conductor, helping parents and professionals get on the right financial track. And I'm joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. John Epting, senior financial broker, 20 plus years of experience in the financial services industry. And today we're going to be having this conversation about clarity, right? This is June, right? The month of June. So we're entering in a new month, June 1st, actually, right?
Yep.
And so let me just start off. How have you been, John? What's been going on the past week since our last conversation?
That's a good question. Thank you for asking, too. May was a really good month, whether it be business, whether it be personal, family life, stuff like that. Got to, of course, celebrate Mother's Day with some very special ladies in my life. And might be surprising another the super special lady in my life, my mom, this weekend, maybe possibly thinking about making it just a last minute kind of in and out type of thing.
Okay.
So that's pretty exciting. But my wife and my daughter and my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, got to hang out with them and then met some really cool friends, some new friends, rekindle some old friends. Got to meet some really cool people this past weekend. During the holiday, and so it's been really fun. And then the reason I'm dressed like this is because I kind of missed my workout this morning. I don't like to half do it.
Right.
I walked in the gym and I realized that I got a chiropractic appointment. Like, in other words, I wouldn't have had enough time to do my workout for the chiropractor. So I skipped it this morning, but just came from the gym, got an incredible workout in. I'm tired and hungry, but I feel good. I'm excited. I'm excited for June.
That means don't keep you long today.
No. No, but I'm excited for June. Seriously, I'm excited for. I've gotten a little bit more clarity on some things and stuff like that. So it's funny you started this talking about clarity. So even I'm curious about how this is going to go tonight. So.
Well, I want to touch on a couple of things that you mentioned about, the month of May was really great. And I think that really does come down to intention. All right. So I told you guys last week that I was going to be in San Diego. I'm still here. We're leaving out tonight. And it's been a incredible week, just spending time with the children, my brother, my mother, my brother's girlfriend as well. And actually met up with my lawyer out here, Yvette Kuyate. Shout out to her. Was able to actually get that family trust plan in place. So felt really good about, hitting that milestone, if you will. And also met up with another friend of mine who spent the day with her yesterday. Went shopping and went out to the beach, saw Mexico, got a few pictures there. And it was nice just to be able to take some time away and do something out of the normal routine. And, almost touch your dreams, if you will, right? Touch the things that, I would love to be able to just travel more regularly and time people that and so in speak, what would you say has helped you to live your life with intention and with purpose?
Well, I think it starts with a vision. You got to have a vision of what you. Yeah, of course, I'm a man of faith. So my vision really isn't my vision. It's kind of what I figured God has for me to do, or has for me to live in a certain way. And I try my best to stay on that path. And of course, I screw it up probably every day. So that's why in life, and everybody does this, whether you're a person of faith or not, you course correct, right? And the only people who don't course correct are the people who aren't moving, right? You don't have to course correct if you aren't moving. It's no big deal, right? You know, it's one of the people who's coached me and you says, I can't teach you how to steer a parked car. Well, the same is true in your life, no matter what we're talking about. But once I figured out who I was and whose I was, and then the vision that I have, but also that he has for me, it helps you move with intentionality and with purpose, right? It's not about the platform. It's not about the net worth, right? It is about the purpose. So once you figure that purpose out, start to get a little bit easier to move. Matter of fact, your values become a little bit clearer, because now you have something solid, you know. And if you
Yeah.
without that clarity, all kind of people can move you into different things, right? And things you may be interested in, but they're not part of your call,
Yeah.
right? Or they're not part of your purpose, but you're interested in they or even good things. You know, sometimes what keeps people from the great is the good.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes we end up doing good things. I get approached by a lot of different stuff, whether it be nonprofits and things they think I should be involved in, right? And that's when I'm really listening to God and the Holy Spirit to guide me, especially if I have to invest some money or give financially to it, right? What if I have to give time, energy, resources, finances to it? I want to make sure, because none of that belongs to me, it belongs to God. I want to make sure I'm
Mm-hmm.
sowing his resources into the things he wants me to sow into. Right.
Mm.
I might be taking the opportunity away from somebody else by me giving to it. And now that other person it's actually their purpose to give to it. Now they either don't need to, or they're not even sought out because I stepped in. And I don't ever want to
Yeah.
take away from those types of things. So I think I think it starts with a vision.
Yeah.
I think it starts there. And then after that, because you can have a vision, but you still got to have these building blocks to put it in place.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff comes along the way. And you actually have to be moving for them to even come up. It's like some of the building blocks are down the street, but if you still stay in this parking spot, you ain't gonna see
That's true. That's so true. And I think that's a huge point. Having a vision, right? I've heard have a vision, or write the vision and make it plain.
it.
And that's something that I'm definitely instilling, in my daughters. But I think for most people, especially, adults, they've gone through life kind of more or less winging it, right? Maybe they figured out, okay, I want to study this or I want to study that, but I feel like a lot of people are off course more than they are on course. And
Yeah.
so, what was the, I guess, defining um, moment for you where you realized that you needed to get on a better track, or you needed to uh, have a clearer vision for your life?
Well, luckily I was pretty young when this happened to me. So I was about 29 years old. And it happened to
Mm-hmm.
be the same time I gave my same time frame I say in that year that I gave my life to Christ. So a lot transpired in that time frame. But I think the thing that made me start seeking a vision, first of all, I don't think I had a vision,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
think what made me start, and don't get me wrong, in some people's senses, right? In my naval career, this is when I was in the Navy, um, I looked successful. If we went down like a checklist, I looked happy, but I wasn't, or I looked fulfilled, but I wasn't. Don't get me wrong, I loved what I did. I had a lot of fun. I got to do some really cool stuff. I've traveled around the world, awesome stuff, no doubt, right? But
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about when it came to I was winging it, right? I joined the Navy and I didn't get stuck, but I got stuck. It was like Okay, that's what it is now. And I think a lot of people are like that. But what I do want to say to anybody who watches this and listens to this, don't feel bad if you're off course. Here's the facts. Right, I serve in the United States Navy. Our United States Navy ships that are sailing right now, they're off course 90% of the time. But that's why there's somebody at the wheel. That's why there's a conning officer. That's why there's an officer to deck to get them back on course. They're constantly course correcting. The space shuttle stays off course most of the time, yet it's still its destination. Right. So, but here's the thing: the space shuttle has a vision. It's aiming for something. Now, so
Yeah.
it's a difference when you're course correcting or you're off course, but you don't even have a direction.
Mm.
You're not off course. You're not even. You're floating,
Drifting.
but yeah. So even our Navy ships have a place we're going. Right, they're going to Greece. They're going to Spain. They're going to the Middle East, whatever the case may be. They're going somewhere, but because of the waves, because of the wind, because of circumstances in the atmosphere, the ship stays off course most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I saying? Your life is the same way. There's circumstances that happen. And the question is how you're going to respond to that wave. Do you allow it to take you, miles off course, or does it take you, 100 yards off course? Right. I'm kind of using the Navy analogy, and not everybody listening is going to be in the Navy, but I think everybody can catch that, right? The plane that you get on tonight, is going to stay. It's going to be off course most of the time.
Yeah.
And the pilot's just course correcting. Even on autopilot, it's off course, okay? But as long as it's heading in the right direction, you'll make it back here.
It's good to know.
Sorry, didn't mean to make you nervous before you got on this flight.
Not at all. And I think that's interesting. I was listening to something recently, and it talked about that, how we often have more faith hopping on an airplane or getting a job or all of these things. We don't even think about it, right? Because we've had enough evidence to prove that, most of the time you're going to get to where you want to go. But we don't have that same faith when it comes to designing or directing our own lives or creating a vision for our own lives. Like, we don't have enough faith in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I know you said that around age 29, you started to develop or you gave your life to Christ, and around that time is when you started to develop the vision for your life. What was the vision that you had at that time, and what would you say has changed since then about your vision? Like, what was the first vision that you had, like, that I want to design my life a certain way, and how would you say that's changed over the last 20 years? 20
years. I wanted to be it didn't start with my family. Most people would think it started with my family, but I'm the head of my family, so it had to start with me. I wanted to be a man of honor. I wanted to mean what I say what I mean. I wanted to walk it out. I didn't want to, fluff with it anymore. I fluffed with it before, although I have some friends who will tell you that, if I said I was going to be there, I was there, and those types of things. They've mentioned this numerous times now. So they say this, I was like this kind of before Christ, but even that I was winging it. I was kind of floating, if you will. But then it became a conscious thing, right? I wanted to do the right thing, no matter who was looking. If nobody ever found out I was doing it. I wanted to be the husband and father my wife and daughters deserved to have, and they deserve a lot. So they still don't have him, right? But I'm working on it. I wanted to be the son my mother deserved, right? I think about, this might sound stupid, but I think about my mother. My mother got pregnant with me. I'm her oldest, so I'm the oldest of 9, and she got pregnant with me in college, right? And coming from her family, for her to come home, tell them she's pregnant out of wedlock, right? Now, she married my dad, and they went on to have 8 more, but matter of fact, she lost a couple, so if it, I think it would be 11 of us all together if all of us made it, you know what I'm saying? But I think about that, and I think about, here it is in the 70s, right? And early 70s. And for her not to abort me, right? For her not to, I mean, she just got to college, really. She's just, right now, she's went back now, right, and gotten her degree, and, you know, she's super smart. So, yeah, her smart skipped me, right? Some of my brothers got it, right? Jeffrey got it. Jason got it, right? And not me. You're right. Jessica got it, but not me. Right. So some of my brothers and sisters got her smarts, but I think about that. Man, she could have avoided me. I think about my dad. I think about it. He grew up in a culture. He was around a culture that wouldn't have batted an eye if he didn't take responsibility for me. It's just, that's the world they were in. And now I'm here. I get to speak to these people. I get to pour into them. I wanted to be that. I wanted to make that count. The fact that she made that choice, I wanted to make that count. And for other people's lives to be infected because she made that call. Like, you made the good call, Dorothy. You made the good call, Big John. Big John now, but you made a good call. Awesome. And a lot of people's lives have been touched because you made that call.
Yeah.
That's where the vision started. Right. And then it grew as I got in the financial industry. And then I studied scripture for 3 years just on money and possessions. Then it was like, I want to enhance God's kingdom. I wanted to bless those in his kingdom, the people who follow him, to believe in him, to know what he says about resources, what he says about money, what he says about possessions and things like that. So I started teaching that and being on platforms to do that. And still wanted to be a better husband, wanted to be a better father, wanted to view marriage differently. I know I haven't talked about making a whole bunch of money or nothing yet, but I still want to do that stuff too. And I've done that, but it's more important about who I become and how many lives get affected because I became better.
Yeah.
Is really my vision. It's still that way to this day. It's kind of rearranged a little bit, right? And I don't know. It's kind of my chiropractor talks about this with me all the time. It's funny. So he's a good friend of mine, and sometimes I go in there to get adjusted. So I'm there a couple times a week, and he'll talk about how he was just having lunch with someone else and talking about me. And it's like, I'm humbled, so I'm leaning in to listen to what were y'all talking about and how the conversation, right? But it's so cool that somebody, especially of his caliber and his character and how he walks his life out, for him to be talking positively about me even when I'm not in his presence. And when him and I go to lunch, he tries to grab one of his sons to go with us just so they can be in my presence. And now his partner, he has a new partner in his practice that says the same thing. And it's like, I haven't even spent that much time with the other guy, but that's how they view me. Right?
That's cool.
That vision started 20 years ago. And I didn't know the impact of all of that, right?
Yeah.
But I just wanted people's lives to be better because I lived. I don't want to be successful. Being successful is actually really easy.
Yeah.
Especially depending on how you gauge success. If we did it by net worth or number of cars or something like that, man, that stuff kind of easy, right? But being significant is something different.
Mommy, who did this?
Being significant means other lives are better because of you. Like, when I die, I had a whole bunch of people crying. Now, not because I'm gone. I want them celebrating that I got to go and see my Father in heaven, and He's gonna say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." I want all the people that ever came in contact with me to know that part, right? But I want them to cry for them. I know it sounds weird. I want them to think to themselves, like I do with Carlton McLeod. Had I not met him, where would my marriage be? Where would my life be? Right? He's been significant in my life that I want people thinking that way about me. I want somebody going, man, where would I be had I not met him?
It's a love story, not a SARS epidemic.
That's cool.
It
ain't about a bunch of money. I believe if you do all this other stuff, the money's gonna come in.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm asking these questions, John, because you're a little further down the path than maybe a lot further down the path than I am myself. And so,
I'm just a block down the street.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to put on my running shoes to catch up. But no, it's just these questions that I ask myself, and I'm constantly reflecting. And I think I often feel like I'm failing more than I'm succeeding. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
normal.
right.
That's normal.
Well, it's good to know it's normal.
People, I know you probably didn't want to hear that, but people who have a great vision or people who are going somewhere, they always feel like they're behind. They always feel like, damn it, I could have did that a little bit better. Come on, what's wrong with me? Right? And this is just how we feel. Now, here's the deal. You have to get to a point of maturity. This takes maturity. You have to get to a place of maturity where, remember I told you, in the presence of certain mentors of mine, I'm challenged yet encouraged.
Yeah.
Challenged yet encouraged. That's where that comes from. Right? I'm challenged in the sense like, come on, John, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're a better husband than this. You're better, like when I lose my temper, or even if I just have a problem that whatever I'm thinking shows on my face. So if a facial expression comes across and my wife reads it and she reads it wrong, I say to myself, come on, John, what's wrong with you? You're more mature than this. Right? If somebody, I allow somebody, hear how I say that, I allow somebody to get me mad. Right? Come on, man, you're further than that. Okay, that's my challenging part. But there is parts of me that's like, man, you are not the husband you used to be. Oh my God, thank God. Right? The relationship Yadi and I have at this point, oh my God. Oh my God. It's so beautiful. Right? Yet there's still some challenges.
Yeah.
The relationship I have with my 16-year-old versus my 27-year-old, this is different worlds. This is two different programs. Right? But what changed? Some people think that they walk through life and they're like, you ever met these people who every restaurant they go to, they get bad service? Every restaurant they go through, the waitress had attitude, or they had their food, they got their food wrong. Like, okay, I'm not gonna say every. 7 out of 10 restaurants screwed their order. Right? 7 out of 10 waitresses pissed them off, did something. And they never paused to say to themselves, they're the common denominator in these situations.
Right.
Right. When I talk to people who jump from church to church to church to church, and that church is this, and they always got a very good story, but they never forget. They never realize you're the common denominator here. Like all of those churches can't be bad. Right? It's something going on with you. And I think people forget, whether it be business, whatever the case is, you take you with you. And your world would be better if you just left you. Either left you or improve you. And most people ain't trying to improve them. So, and unfortunately, they can't leave them either. So.
No, I think that's important because I think in the times that we're in, right, just what's gone on over the past year and, seeing some of the consequences or ramifications of decisions that are being made, it's so evident that a lot of people are drifting, right? Mm-hmm. But also they're not designing their life, right? Like they're looking for somebody to lead them. They're looking for somebody to tell them what to do. And so can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what does life look like when you don't design? All right, I know I can speak for personal experience. Like when you don't plan certain things out, you show up as a single mom with 2 kids, trying to figure things out on your own, right? Because I didn't plan or I didn't put certain things in place.
Right.
And so like you adjust, right? You learn how to pivot, you learn how to make things work. But it becomes challenging too because you did things, for lack of a better term, out of order, right? You didn't have a plan. You allow somebody else's plan to influence you. You allow somebody else's vision to influence you. And so in certain ways that shows up in your life. And so how you respond to it, like you said earlier, makes the difference. So I'm being intentional about the mother I'm becoming right now that I am a mother. All right, what kind of mother do I want to be? And I've thought about that even before having
she's
children.
a mother, all right.
Awesome.
And so, what type of mother I wanted to be, but also what example do I want to set for my daughters? How can I help them have a vision for their lives as well? Because the alternative is society, the government, the educational system, right? Like somebody, right, has, well, I think it's something, it's a Jim Rohn quote, because, I know his. He said, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Not much. And so for a lot of people, when you look around and you see, what do you think keeps people from designing that life for themselves or seeking that vision for their own lives?
Well, nobody likes to admit that they're, for lack of a better term, a failure. Right? In order for you to start designing your life, you actually have to you got to admit some things to yourself. Right? And if you don't admit those things, you just drift. Right? And a lot of times, here's another big one. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I have some friends of mine, and you know me, I try to deal mainly with men, right? Because I'm a man and I know how we're supposed to walk and how we're supposed to maneuver and do things, right? Based on the word of God, right? So I have some friends, and it just dawned on me, every once in a while for my group, my guys, right? I would shoot them a text and just ask them, hey, who's your mentor? Right? And just to see what their response would be. Now, the ones that's been walking with me for a while, have known me for a while, or seen me speak, right? They know I'm probably not looking for just one name. Right? You probably better tell me what area that person mentored you, right? And here's the big one. Would that person be okay with you telling people that they are your mentor? Think about that for a moment. Like, pause. Digest that for a moment, right? There might be people out there saying I mentor them. Would I be offended by the fact they say that? Based on their life. So when you don't design it, right, you ask, right? And first of all, let me rewind a little bit. You're a single mom now, right? So you're my mom. 49 years ago, call it 45 years ago, right? Something like that. Right? So you're my mom, okay? And I look at what my mom created, starting with me, right? But then she got great children, right? And I'm speaking of my brothers and sisters, like Justin, who we laid him to rest in February, and then Jason, and then Jerron, and Jeffrey, and Jeremy, and Jennifer and Jessica and Jillian, and they're all doing great. They're all doing things, and some of them are going after their passions. My little sister, who's a personal trainer, she's doing some stuff. My sister, who's had great success in certain things. She lives in Switzerland right now. Great success. Has done some amazing things. Right now, she's shifting and she's thinking about what's her next move, and what God wants her to do, and is this part of my purpose? Is it part of my shape? Right, those types of things. My brother Jeff. I can keep going on and on about them. My mom, what happened? She could have saw that happened to her, but now it's happening for her.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we all adore her. Like, she's our Wonder Woman. My wife is Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
The Wonder Woman right behind me here, right? So my wife is the Wonder Woman, right? But only because my mama passed her the torch. Listen to me. And I love my wife. My wife's a freaking rock star, right? If you've ever heard my wife speak on stage, oh my gosh, I get chills listening to her, right?
Yeah.
Right. We had a couple over our house last week, right? They're asking me to perform their wedding at the end of this month, and so we had them over, and we're conversing and going through some stuff, and just the stuff my wife is pouring into them, I'm like, dang, that was hot, right? And I'm no guy to perform the thing, right? But she's like, I'm like, yo, this girl is hot. So
Mhm.
I want you to take lightly what the Lord's blessed you with. You have two
Yeah.
great, beautiful little girls, especially that older one is wow, right? And that little one, all she's gonna do is mimic the big one. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. But look, you didn't plan that. You didn't plan that, right?
Right.
But now that gets to be something you plan for.
Mm.
When you don't plan your life, right? Okay, so you have two children now. Okay. If you don't plan that now this can get really bad. And now it don't just affect you. Same thing with anybody else. A lot of people most people, I was at Kroger yesterday, right? Most of the people working in Kroger, that wasn't like a dream of theirs. 15 years ago, 17 years ago, 21 years ago, they needed a job. And they got stuck. It doesn't make them bad people, right? Bills needed to be paid. Whatever the case may be, that's how that happened, right? So what does that mean? Not a true vision or plan for their life, right? Or that could be just part of those building blocks I said, right? They might have a vision, and part of their vision was to have a job here to pay these bills, to become debt free, to become, because everybody, I don't know why we think everybody that works in like a grocery store or Best Buy or something like that can't be financially independent. You can be financially independent just working a job. Listen to me, right? I have clients like that. Listen to me. I'm just living normal. They ain't on stage. They ain't got a big Instagram account. They ain't, a YouTuber. They ain't flipping property, right? They might own a few property, but they ain't flipping them every week. They ain't got 1,300 houses. They don't have but they're still financially independent. I know a couple debt free. They've never had a mortgage. 3 houses, they've never had them out. Every house they pay cash.
Was it here?
It's right down the hall.
But we're
pretty cool.
regular jobs, right? So I think we just have to view things a little bit differently. Yeah, but when you don't have a plan, you just end up taking whatever somebody gives you, taking whatever somebody offers you. And listen to me, I'm even talking about what we would call high caliber people who are CEOs, CFOs of companies and stuff like that. I don't know why we think those people had a plan or they had a big vision. No, that's just a job too, right? Especially if you got an interview for it, you might just be falling in somebody else's plan. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I notice is people who don't have a plan or vision. I'm gonna say vision. They don't have a vision for their life. They're the people who blame, complain, and justify the most. Blame, complain, and justify. Every time you're talking to them, they're blaming somebody else, whether it be the economy, whether it be the Democrats, the Republicans, Fox, whoever. They mama, they past, they past hurts, they ex, they blaming somebody. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never theirs, right? Complaining. They're always. I know a guy who does, I believe, very well. I think he does okay, right? Especially he works for the government, right? Retired military, blah, blah, blah. You can't be in his presence without him complaining. Master's degree in business, all these. You cannot, you will never be in his presence without him complaining about something. It's the craziest thing, right? And I'm probably the only person in his life who will call him out on it. Like, I remember one time I was together, he was just complaining. Everything's against him. The world is against him, blah, 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 right? And I just asked him, hey, man, can you name 3 things that you're blessed for? Like, give me 3 things you have gratitude for, right? Couldn't come up with it. Couldn't come with. Okay, he gave me 1 and then went back to complain. You see what I'm saying? Those type of people, why is he like that? He doesn't have a real vision for his life. I'm not saying he didn't have some plans. I mean, he bought this and bought that and has a house and da-da-da, but no real vision.
Yeah.
See, when you got a vision, you don't even have time to complain. Because you're constantly moving. You just saw an obstacle and you just go around it, you jump over it, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
We blow it up. We blow up that obstacle and we keep moving. Now don't get me wrong, we take breaks. I've learned to take some mental health time for myself. I
Yeah.
had to learn. I didn't know this at first. I thought I could just go. I have a guy who's gonna start working out with us next week, and we've known each other for a number of years. I've mentored him in the faith, I guess you would say, and stuff like that. So he's coming back. But one of the things him and I were talking about today, he's asking me how many days a week I work out and that type of stuff. And I just told him, hey, I used to say some very stupid things in my youth and immaturity. I used to say stuff like, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You only need a few hours of sleep. Get back at it. Listen, stupid.
Yeah.
This is stupid. This is just pure stupidity on my part, right? In my immaturity, in my lack of wisdom. Now I realize, just for health purposes, fat loss too. Fat loss. If you're not getting enough sleep, it will hurt your fat loss. But also for mental health purposes, for health, period. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys. If you're not getting enough sleep, those things will break down. So now I try my best. I'm still not getting 8. I need to get to 8, but I make sure I get some sleep. I get some rest. Right? Those are things. Right? I had to learn that. Right? But if you don't, when you got a vision, you still got to calm down a little bit. Right? You should enjoy the journey. That's what I kind of mean.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey. Right? Stop and pause and look at that mountain. Look at those flowers as they bloom along the way. Don't just, I'll look at all that stuff when I get there. No,
yeah.
Check it out now. So that way you know what all this was for.
Yeah.
Right? So they complain, they blame, they complain, and then they justify. Every time they don't make a move, they justify why it didn't happen. They justify this, they justify that. And it becomes a mad cycle. And here's the biggest problem with all of what I just said. They don't even realize they're doing it. How do I know? I was one of them. I didn't even realize it. And I see a lot of it too, right? And if I've earned the right to speak into their life, I'll say something to them. If I haven't earned the right, I can't say that. Because then they just think think about it. They blame, complain, and justify. So now I'm the target.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I do it out of love. I try my best to, my wife has taught me how to kind of say it the right way. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I've worked on my delivery for years. Still working on that. All right. My daughter has been a good test case of me checking my delivery. But I try to save them so they don't go through the same stuff. And I've actually had one person he's a little bit older than me. It's only a couple of years, but right, say it was too late. Right. And I told him it's too late. Like, seriously? Right. And I've noticed since him and I had that conversation, he's making some adjustments. Right. They're slight, right? But a guy like me, I can notice them. I can see them. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure his family sees it. Right. He walks a little bit different. And I'm watching his confidence, which I didn't expect. I kind of knew, but I didn't expect it to be this fast. Because it was only a couple months ago. But I love him, so I said something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt, I wasn't absolutely sure, but I felt that I had earned the right thus far to speak into his life that way, and thank God I was right. I didn't become the target. He actually calls me more.
That's good to hear. And there's a couple things that I've heard you say over the years. One, which was kind of the basis for this conversation tonight, was that know what you want, know why you want it, and know what you're willing to do to get it. But you've also said something to the effect of, what was it? I just lost my train of thought there. Not something specifically that you said, but we've both heard how you'll be the same person you are today 5 years from now, except for the people that you associate with, to spend time with, the books you read, and the events that you attend, right? Big events that you attend. And the latter for me, specifically associations, right? I actually thought about that on this trip this weekend. How like I got a lawyer, right? Like that's new, right? And she actually picked me and my family up. We were down at the waterfront park down by the harbor, and she picked us up and took us on a little tour around. And it was kind of cool to be like, I was texting another friend that I was out here to visit as well. And I was just like, yeah, my lawyer's picking me up. She's going to take us on the sightseeing tour, and, then we'll catch up later. But, like being mindful that a couple years ago, I knew that I had to improve my associations. I had to get around a different group of people who could challenge me and encourage me, who could show me a different path, if you will, or a better way of being. And, you and Yabby have been that to me as well. Just, kind of like that North Star, that guiding star to show me, what excellence is. And, I see how you are in your marriage and how you are with your daughter. And so those are some of the things that are helping me to craft my vision, right? Like I'm not going to mimic it, everything that you do, but I'm seeing some of the things that you do. And those are some things that I want to be a part of my vision. Because I wasn't, like I said, I didn't really have a clear vision. When I was 28, 29, I was like, I want somebody to share my life with, right? And then I joked that, God blessed me with my daughter because I wasn't specific, right? Because I was just, right, but it's true, right? I just wanted somebody to share my life with. I'm thinking partner, but like I didn't specify partner, right? So I got my daughter, and it's been cool. The last she'll be 7 this year, so the last almost 7 years, watching her grow and develop and become who she's destined to be. And she's in gymnastics, of course. We've talked about that, and she loves what she's doing, and everywhere she goes, right? Like she said it actually while we were on this trip. She was just like, I like impressing people, right? So she'll be in the middle of the sidewalk or something like that. We were at the zoo. We went to the San Diego Zoo, and she's at the zoo doing, round off backhand springs and walkovers, back, right, all this stuff, right? And people are like, congratulating her, and she was walking on her hands, right? Like that's her new challenge, because she saw somebody do that a few weeks ago. This guy who was in his 50s walking on his hands, and he was up there for about probably 20-30 seconds, and she was just like in awe, like, oh, like that's my new challenge. And so she's been working on walking on her hands, and she can get up to about 10 seconds now walking on her hands. So she was doing it. We went on a walk earlier today with my brother, and she did it. And some guy in an office meeting looking out his window, he had to stop, and it was just, like, so she loves, getting that type of, she loves being affirmed, if you will. But just seeing her grow and develop and become who she's destined to be, and hoping that I don't screw it up. But it's also exposing her to, right? She got to meet the lawyer and, talk with her daughter and, spend some time with them, and also meet another friend of mine and speak, just those associations, people who are growth oriented, who are successful in their own right, but who also are significant in other people's lives. And, I'm still working on my vision, right? Like I'm 36 now. And so 29, I wasn't as clear. I'm more clear now. But there are certain things that are, somewhat non-negotiable, like who I want my daughters to be who they were destined to be. I want them to live out their purpose. And I want them to have their own voice, right? Like those are the things that are right, that I'm clear on. And so I do try to implement that on a regular basis. But at the same time, I need to still work on me, because I know I screw it up as a mother and as a daughter and as a sister, right? Like I screwed up a lot of things a lot of the times. And, I want to get better, right? I want to improve. And so I reflect on that a lot. And I think this trip, was definitely needed to, kind of take a break, get away, kind of clear my mind, get some perspective on what's going on in my life and the direction I want to move in. And something that you said earlier about good often gets in the way of great. and
Mhm.
I see who I can become. I see the greatness that I can achieve, if you will. Um, but I'm too busy doing good, right?
Mhm.
Supporting this and supporting that, and because I can, right? Like I'm capable of helping in this regard or helping in that,
Right.
initiative. But I'm spreading myself too thin, and that's one of the things that I definitely realized from this trip, was just like you're doing too much, right? Like you got too much on your plate. You got to take some stuff off so that you can move with clearer vision and a better focus. So that's my goal as I
Okay.
return back to the East Coast, is to get more focus and work on saying no. That's right. We had that conversation a
Ah,
couple months ago about boundaries. I'm gonna need to go back and reread that because I have not been setting those boundaries as clearly as I need to. It's just like, all right, you're reading this book now. Let's you get the adversity, or you get the challenge to test whether or not you actually have learned that lesson. And I haven't learned it yet because I keep saying yes to stuff that creates more anxiety or more stress. And it's just recognizing that and understanding that
yeah.
you're one person. You can't do it all. Um,
Yeah. You
and
know,
saying
I can tell you, you mentioned something earlier in reference to Yabby and I, and you said something about excellence, right? I want to clear that up. Um, Excellence doesn't mean perfection.
Oh yeah.
Excellence just means when you're involved in something, you give it your all,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to be the best you, which means you never reach it, right?
Right.
Here's the big one you have to get, right? In order for you to, you sent my wife and I a text back on May 14th. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And you sent us a text, and my wife responded.
Mhm.
You basically asked us, how do we manage caring for ourselves and also giving and adding value to others, right? And what we realized is God only designed us to be good at a couple of things at a time. And
Mhm.
if we spread ourselves out too much, we're not doing anything excellent. So in other words, I can't be an excellent father if I'm spreading myself out too much in business. I can't be an excellent dad, husband, if I'm spreading myself out too much as a father. You gotta, and that's another reason a vision is so important. Once you get a vision, no becomes easier to say.
Hmm.
Once your vision is getting clearer, and I'm telling you, I don't really think mine's all that as clear as I would like for it to be, right? I feel God has given me recently given me some new directions, but He hasn't given me any details.
Mm.
Yeah, it sucks. Listen to me, it sucks so bad. But I think what he knows his children, so he knows if I just start walking, he can show me the details, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's trying to tell me, John, I can't steer a parked car, freaking move, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just moving
Everything.
now. Some people are like, it's the weirdest thing. But I want you to know that I think you're doing a great job as a mom. Is there things you could probably improve on? Absolutely, right? But I think you're doing a great job. The fact that you can take them on a trip with you to California, the fact that you're anticipating. Look, the only reason you go see an attorney for estate planning things is you're anticipating great things.
Yeah.
Which means I'm already impressed. Because how many single moms haven't done that? Haven't done an estate plan and make sure their daughters are going to be taken care of. Come on. So you're doing great, right? But don't let too many people spread you thin. Same thing with your daughter. I know she likes the attention. She likes the accolade, if you will.
Mhm.
But it can become unhealthy when it becomes an approval addiction.
Yeah.
As you know.
Mhm.
So I believe you're doing great. Keep going, keep moving, right? Constantly get better every day, and try to have some measurable. Oh yeah, and last but not least, you said something in reference to. Whoa, you said something in reference to you wanted a partner to share your life with, right? Look, everybody who's listening to me, any goal or vision you have, please make sure you got some details. If if you want to be married, don't say just married. You want to be happily married.
Mm.
You got a dream car. You better know exactly what that dream car is. What color is it? What would you put on the license plate? What color would the dress you be when you go pick it up, or the suit you'll be wearing when you see what I'm saying? I got those types of details up here, right? I know what color I want my Aston Martin. I know what the interior looks like. I know what I want on the license plate.
Yeah, I definitely have to work on that. But I think I'm a lot like you in regards, like, if you give me too much information, it'll just overwhelm me, and I'll have paralysis of analysis, right? Like I won't move. So I do what I can with what I do have, right? So it's like a state plan. All right, I can check that off for now. Let me move on to the next thing. And I definitely appreciate you saying that, because I don't know, like I have a difficult time.
You don't feel like you're doing a great job. Listen, and here's the cool thing with my relationship with God for me, right? I beat myself up a lot, like mentally, from my weight, from the way I look in my clothes, with my, thank God I have the wife I have, because she's always affirming me, right? But I have these ideas in my brain, and I'm constantly beating myself up, constantly. Am I making any difference? Is anybody's life being changed here?
Yeah.
Why am I keeping going? Why am I taking all this abuse from people who don't appreciate me, right? And God always, it hasn't failed yet. He doesn't do it all the time, but he knows when I'm at that point. And he'll send somebody. I got a text the other week. I got a call another day. Somebody text me today that I haven't talked to in a long time. And based on affiliations, I didn't know if they even wanted to deal with me. I got a text today. First of all, affirming me, appreciating the things I had said and done for them in the past, blah, blah, blah. And now, they want to take me out to lunch. And it's like every time the Lord knows I'm struggling a little bit, he sends somebody and say, hey, nope, son, you're on the right track. Nope, you're doing good. Keep going. Don't slow down.
Yeah.
Hopefully I was that for you today. Keep going. You're moving in the right direction. You're doing it. Okay?
Thank you, John. So as we wrap up, I just want you to share with people, like I said, you have that quote: know what you want, know why you want it, and know what you're willing to do to get it. Can you just share with our audience where that came from and how you applied that for yourself?
Yeah, I think it came from the book Think and Grow Rich. From the book Think and Grow Rich, you gotta know what you want, right? We're so diversified, right? And nobody narrows down what they want. So I called them for years. As I spoke on stage, we called it my CTC questions, right? Cut the crap. Right? What do you want? Right? You got to get clear on what you want. Right? Like I said, you got to have details. You got to kind of map. If I ask you your dreams, could I do a virtual tour of your future life? Like if I closed my eyes and told you, hey, paint me a picture of what your life looks like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 5 years from now. Could I close my eyes and do a virtual tour of your life? If you can't articulate it to me that way, you might not be clear. So you got to know what you want. Second, you got to know why you want it. Because as soon as the tough times come, if the why isn't big enough, you're going to quit. And tough times are coming. It's not if, it's when. Right? But if the why, the reason behind it is big enough, nothing can really get in your way. It's just a hurdle. It's just a speed bump. The things we go through, they can be a speed bump or a ditch. It's up to us, though. So you got to know why you want it. But last but not least, you got to know what you're willing to do and sacrifice to get it. So what are your non-negotiables? Like, and I like to start with my goals and dreams that are non-negotiable. And Aston Martin is negotiable. I don't need an Aston Martin. Let's be honest here. I don't need a Bentley Flying Spur. Right? I'm gonna have it, but I don't need it. Nobody's gonna die, right? My family's next generation isn't gonna be hurt because I didn't have one of those, right? But certain other things, they're not negotiable. That has to happen, or somebody dies. Period. Right? That's just how it has to be. Right? So you got to know what you want. Right? Be clear why you want it. Make sure you have a huge why to back up with the things you want. And last but not least, figure out what are you willing to do and sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice your weekends for that? Are you willing to sacrifice missing some baby showers for that? I mean, come on, it's their fourth baby. You don't need to be at the right? It's their third marriage. Show up to the reception. Right? I'm just saying, right? We act like, oh, that's my best friend. I got to be at everything they do. No, and if they're really your friend, they'll support you missing some of their stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you articulate your vision to them. I promise you, they're perfectly fine with you missing some stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hopefully that was helpful to everyone who listens today.
Absolutely. And hey, if you need some help with your financial vision, you could definitely reach out to John or myself. Our Calendly links are in the, have a little delay there, on the ticker at the bottom there. So you can schedule a complimentary consultation with John at calendly.com/JC Epting, or with myself at calendly.com/prosperity passengers/financial consultation, and get some help with crafting your financial vision, right? For some people, maybe they need to start there, right? Because their vision for the rest of their life is cloudy because they haven't got clear on where they are financially. And sometimes just clearing up those finances can help you with the bigger vision.
I agree, but I'm going to say something to the crowd. I'm willing to talk and help. I'm not an expert on this, guys. I'm not some life coach or something. But I'm willing to help you even if it's not finances. I'm willing to spend some time with you on a call or something and just throw questions at you to help you start thinking, right? To help you get clear on your vision. I just believe this is so important, that your purpose, God created you for some great things in life. And when I say great things, I'm not saying you're on a platform and you're speaking to thousands of people. That's not necessarily great. You know, the Bible actually says that he calls the parts of the body that are unseen to be more important than the parts of the body that are seen. Right? So you might not be a head or a nose, but you might be a liver. And you can't live without a liver. So the reason I say that is you just need a vision. You just need a vision. You need to move in the right direction. And you probably need some positive reinforcement. And I know I can be, right? But I also if you give us the opportunity. And hey, just reach out to us. I got no ulterior motive here. So hopefully I just want people's lives to be fulfilled, and I want them to impact other people in the process too. So thanks, Majida, for your time today.
Thank you, John, as always. Appreciate you all tuning in. Hey, if you've gotten some value out of this, definitely like it, share it with a friend. Watch the replay, watch it over again. Maybe you'll catch some other nuggets from the conversation. And as always, join us again next week for a Momentum Chat as we dive into the month of June and talk some more about finances and getting you on the right track. So have a great evening.
Have a great night, everyone.